and I almost want to hold it to my mouth like a mic, but then
I feel like that's more like the podcast or the TikTok commentators that do that. Whenever you see them like holding it, they're like jumping around to different spots on the
they're like
page.
super small.
Yeah, and they're down here and then they're way up here, so they don't block what you're looking at.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 4 of the Oxbro Show with Seth Rowe
and Korea.
And this is our first podcast post-election. And correct me if I'm wrong, or if you know, but I don't think Biden endorsed Kamala. You know, because you had
I heard that he didn't. That he hadn't, at least. I don't know if maybe something changed. And
because with Biden, Obama endorsed Biden immediately.
Yeah.
And, he was a former president, so you'd almost assume that it would go the same way with, Biden and Harris.
Yeah.
Which was really strange to me. Going up to the doors and talking to people, it felt so staged. And then, on election night, she acts like she's picking up the phone, speaking to a voter, "Thank you for your vote." And she shows everybody her phone and it's her camera's open. Yeah. She's not even talking to anybody. It's like, I really wish I could have heard Kamala speak on a human level.
It always seemed so staged. It wasn't, it never seemed like it was in a comfortable setting even for her.
Yeah.
Just speak freely.
Yeah.
It always just seemed, right to the script, follow this along, get out of here, keep your head down.
Because you had Trump on Theo Von's podcast and on Joe Rogan's.
Was that the same week too? I mean,
they were
pretty close to it. It was almost.
It was pretty close. And then JD Vance did the same thing. He went on Theo Von, and you're talking hours of them just talking.
Yeah, having down to earth conversations, and not about anything really in particular, but just and it wasn't even interviews.
Yeah, they just talked about a lot of different stuff. JD Vance to me is awesome. I really like JD Vance, and you want to talk about how Kamala said, "Oh, she came from a middle class family." Vance came from nothing.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean, as far as what I've read, he did not have the greatest upbringing by any means, and he got himself to this point. And for him to be where he's at now is just an amazing story in itself.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's
because I thought that right away. There was some picture going around of him as a kid, and it just looked like one of those old fashioned, just hanging out at a family's house.
Yeah.
Old-timey, down-to-earth kind of pictures, one that I would have in my own home.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other politicians, it's they grew up in such a different upbringing.
Yeah.
They just don't, I'm sure they understand economics and the way things work much better than we ever can, but they don't really understand how it is to be at the bottom.
No, struggling to pay your bills or struggling to get food on your table or whatever, which I think
worrying about a car breaking down or something along those lines.
Having a tire pop driving down the road, you're how am I going to pay for this?
Well, I'll be saving up as much as I can, or taking out some kind of quick cash advance thing, and and those little hiccups.
And I think that was a big reason to why Trump won too. I mean, we're not old by any means. I mean, we're in our 20s. But since being alive, this has been the most drastic change that I've seen in my life, to where, a presidency really did matter. It hit the small town. It hit, everyone across the board. It hit, whether it's, metal manufacturing companies, whether it's RV, whether it's the stock market, whether it's grocery store manager.
Haven't seen anything yet, but it definitely felt that way. And that's, like I've said before, it's kind of nerve-wracking because both sides felt that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for that's another thing too that doesn't make sense to me. It seems like I've seen more people vote that didn't vote before.
Yeah.
Ever too. I mean, there were so many people that I've talked to that was I didn't vote, or I normally don't vote, that actually went out, registered, and voted. And somehow there's it's in between 15, I don't have the figure in front of me right now, but it's somewhere between 15 and 20 million people didn't vote this time, but did on the last election, which is, I mean, if there's how many people is in America? 325 million, you'd say, probably somewhere in there.
Yeah, roughly.
I mean, you're talking, you know, a pretty large portion of that, you know. Well, here we go. In 2020, there was 155 million total votes, and in 2024, 137 million total votes. So there was 17,535,000 more total votes in 2020 than there was in 2024. And for whatever reason, this election felt so much more important than the last one did, at least for me. At least for me.
For a lot of people out there, man. It was both sides.
Yeah, so that's really strange. Really strange. Especially, I mean, the last election, you know, you'd see stuff about the election, you know, everywhere, but it seemed like it was legitimately everywhere this time around. Whether you were on YouTube, whether you were on Twitch, whether you were watching, you know, an episode.
Of the streaming services, if they have ads, I kept seeing them on there.
Yep. And then, you know, even on just normal cable television, you'd see commercials about it constantly, and it was always the same ones, whether it was for Kamala or for Trump. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
and it you know, whatever party you vote for, you know, I don't care, but it just felt like both sides were putting out such propaganda against the other candidate. It just felt it was so like uncomfortable almost.
Yeah.
It's like cringy. You know,
even their like political ads, both sides, it just kind of attacked one or the other.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to hear what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't care.
I want to know how we're doing. I want gas lower. I want to afford groceries. I mean,
yeah. I'm you know, I don't want to. I hate getting a bag of pizza rolls and they're like $20. It's like, okay, well, that's how's this gonna be my dinner for the next 2 days? There's only 20 of these things in there. It's like. But yeah, it's really weird. The number of votes here. Yeah, okay, so there was 81 million Democrats, 74 million Republicans. So Trump got less votes this time around in 2024, won by a landslide. And that just doesn't make any sense. He had 74 million votes in 2020, 71 million votes in 2024.
And theirs dropped about 20 million.
Yeah.
So all the people that didn't vote this time.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
That seems
makes me want to look into those numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty strange.
Definitely something to be said there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know this for sure, but I could have swore I seen that there was a lot of deceased people that voted.
That's what
in the last election.
Yeah, that's what they claimed.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is.
To it, but I mean, I never really saw anything that came out that
was
proven. They said people were burning ballots. The only thing that I did see actual like footage of was when they were covering the polling booths.
Yeah,
that's about the only thing I saw actual footage of. But I guess the rest is pretty hard to prove.
Yeah, I mean, just the other day he had 777,000 people watching it. So to put that into perspective for, you know, maybe some of the younger viewers that may watch this video, I mean, you're talking more viewers than like Queso, Jinxie, Sketch, and Ninja. Maybe even throw in like a Nick A30 combined for watching like Alex Jones. Nights. Yeah, like I'm talking like all of them streaming at the same time. All their viewership combined still isn't going to hit Alex Jones figures. Unless those numbers are skewed, you know, like maybe there's some bots that are watching him. But I literally popped in for 2 seconds on X the other day, and yeah, 777K were watching him.
Holy!
I was super surprised. All right, well, I think we're good for the 4th episode of the Axe Bros Show. Hope you guys all have a good night, and hopefully these next 4 years are a success.
Better roads and better groceries and
but we'll better see. Gas. You know, might be able to get some snow tires.
We say that every 4 years though, no matter who wins.
Yeah, so. Yes, that's true. That's
Hope
true.
Hope we're better this time.
But all right, you guys have a good night.
Yeah, take it easy.